Hello friends, may Jesus be with all of us today and always. Welcome to the program Spiritist Teachings, where we are going to show you classes of the course Basic Notions of Spiritism. The course Basic Notions of Spiritism is the first course of the introductory cycle of studies of the Spiritist Center. So today you're going to watch the class Self-Knowledge. And if you want to reproduce this class in your Spiritist Center, pay attention to the material that we use in each class. So first, we use this book called Get to Know Spiritism. And this book contains all the 14 classes, and it's used in every single class by all students. We also have a book that we use in the moment of self-enlightenment called Agenda of Self-Enlightenment. This book is not just used during the classes, but also at home, every day at home, as a method of self-enlightenment. We also use a book from Emmanuel called 2000 Years Ago. This is the book of the support of our studies, used in the moment of self-enlightenment as well. In every class, you're also going to need an attendance sheet that we're going to take attendance every class at the beginning of each class. For every class, you're going to find in our website that is here on the screen, and you can go online and you'll find a lot of materials. You're going to find all the slides as well as the plan of class, of each class, explaining each moment what we're going to be using, suggestions of techniques, of group studies, and so on. For this class, you're going to have to prepare these little booklets called Who Am I? For one of the activities. And the students are going to represent themselves inside these. And for this, you're going to need colored pencils or markers that they are going to use. To separate the students in groups, you're going to use these flowers with the names of virtues here. And these are going to be how they are going to be divided in groups. After they are done with the groups, you're going to form on the wall this big chart, the scale of self-enlightenment. And you're going to place this on the wall. And the students are going to use the names of virtues and vices. And these are going to be formed on the wall. So have this all ready before you begin the class for the activities. And all of this is explained in the class plan as well. The last thing you're going to need for this class is in a self-evaluation form, where each student is going to think about themselves and evaluate themselves. Today, the instructor will be Anna Emlinger. May you all have a great class. Enjoy.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good,
Please
good.
take a seat.
Hi.
Hello, how are you? Good to
Hi.
see you too. Hello. Hi. That's very good, thank you. How are you? Okay, it's so good to see everybody here again for one more class. Studying Spiritism. What a wonderful way to enjoy our time together. So before we do our attendance and start our class, let's pray. Let's do our initial prayer. For this, I invite everyone. Let's close our eyes. Feeling the presence of the spirits, the mentors that are here right now, helping us to learn about Spiritism, and in special today, about ourselves, about ways to help us in our self-enlightenment. Thank you so much, dear Lord, for bringing us together today. Please bless each one of us, today and always. So be it.
So be it.
Well, let's see who is here. Magda, Alice, Maria, Júlio, Judith, and Cida. Good, very good. Well, so our subject today is, what is the subject today? Self-knowledge. That will help us in our self-enlightenment, because we need to know ourselves to be able to improve ourselves. And this is the goal. One of the goals that Spiritism has is to help us in our evolvement. And before we start with our class, we have, as always, the 3 moments of our Self-Enlightenment Agenda. And I would like to invite everyone to get your agenda. And the first moment, which is the free conversation, what we will do? We will choose someone close to us, and during 10 minutes, we will talk about, it's a free conversation. It's about ourselves, about our lives. We will talk about what we are willing to. Always remembering that we are under the guidance of Jesus Christ. Let's talk?
But it's something that is myself the best, because I used to be a manager too. I was a director, and I was more than 2,000 people. And I see.
So now, in our second moment of the agenda, our second 10 minutes, we are studying, as we all know, 2,000 years ago, this beautiful romance from the Spirit Emmanuel, Psychography of Francisco Cândido Xavier. And before I make some comments, would someone like to help me? Would you like to highlight something? Okay, thank you, Magda.
So what I think is important in this chapter is that Aurelia, who is Fulvia's daughter, she's acting just as his mother. I think they want to show that she's just a mirror of her mother's actions. And I also think
Thank you so much, Magda, for your impressions. And yes, this book is really important, and this chapter in special, because Emmanuel is talking about problems that we have in our daily lives that can happen in families close to us, that definitely happens in other families, and can even happen in our own families. And the good thing is also that even though he's showing so many tragedies, he brings hope in a future, hope in a moment when these tragedies will be gone and a new phase for this family will happen. So now let's go to our third moment of the Self-Enlightenment Agenda, this program so important to us. And this third moment is an individual moment. It's a moment where we will evaluate ourselves. For this, let's again get our agenda and open in the page of today. We will evaluate ourselves today, and then we will go to the evaluation of the week. For this, let me give you some pencils, pens. It's up to you. You already have. And as I said, we have 10 minutes for this individual moment. take your time and evaluate yourself. Very good. So now that we are done with our Self-Enlightenment Agenda program, these 30 minutes that we always start our classes with, we will start with one activity, a dynamic activity. For this, I will hand this form, and the name of this activity is Who Am I? In this activity, what we will do? We will evaluate ourselves in a special way, in a more artistic way. So, if you open the form, let me hand one for each one, and then I will open and show you what I'm talking about. So, if you open the form, you have the instructions in one side, and a space where you can draw yourself, you can write some words, you can draw something that you like. And in the instructions you will see, utilizing this material, try to exercise or develop your artistic skills, drawing a human image of whole body or only the face, which represents you. Use expressions of happiness, joy, revolt, pain, shyness, any expression that will show who you are, how you see yourself. And then we have the second paragraph here. In case you don't want to draw, you can write about the main characteristics of your personality. And for this, I will give you some colored pencils. You can choose the color of your preference. You can choose more than one if you would like. And again, this is just like one of the moments that we had before. This is an individual moment. It's a moment where we will concentrate, think about ourselves, who we are. Okay, very good. So now that you are done thinking about yourself and drawing and finding a creative way to express your thoughts about yourself, we will do like this. We will exchange with the colleague close to you. So you give your paper to someone close to you, and he or she will give you his or her paper, and you will talk a little bit about each other. Okay? It's a free conversation about the drawing. Okay, thank you so much. Let me collect the pencils. Did you enjoy the activity?
Very much, yes.
Did you have a good conversation with each other?
Give me these.
Okay, very good. So now we will divide. Let me collect the papers first, so then you are not overwhelmed with book and agenda and papers. So I'm getting you prepared for our new activity. Our next activity, that is a study group. And for these, I have here some flowers with some virtues, and I will randomly hand some flowers to you. Let's see what virtue you will get. Alice, Magda, Maria. Julio, Judith, and Cida. Okay, so we will have here group 1, Beneficence. So those that got Beneficence can please join here. Group 2, Charity, and group 3, Humility. Let's go. Let's form the groups. Okay, and I have here some envelopes, and inside the envelope we have the instructions. You will see what pages and items that you will study in your book. And I would like to remind everyone that we will have one person that will be chosen in each group to come here in front and summarize to the whole class what was studied in your specific group. Okay? Enjoy the study. Okay, so now that you already studied in groups, I would like to invite the chosen person, the chosen one of each group to come here, please, in front.
The question here is, how can we identify our mistakes? And we learned that we can identify our mistakes by observation. We could at night put our heads on the pillows and think about it, what things that we've done. And the other one is what virtues you already acquired. We didn't see that we acquired that, but we are trying our best to be benevolent, to do good things to others.
About the question, how can we identify our mistakes? We can identify checking our thoughts and our actions, and what are the virtues that we have acquired. We have acquired patience.
Well, we study in our group about the root of all the vices, which is selfishness. And we also, regarding the qualities that we have, I think we have a little bit of each, but none really intense. We are working on it.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentations, for your insights. Please, let's join again. Let's form the semicircle again here for our next activity. Okay, so now let's identify some of the virtues and some of the vices that we studied in our group. Selfishness, revenge, envy, anger, jealousy, forgiveness, vanity, pride, docility, renunciation, humility, modesty, benevolence, affability, and pity. Okay, so now what we will do? We have here our scale of self-enlightenment. Okay, so now, as I was talking to you, here is our scale of self-enlightenment, showing the balance among our vices and our virtues. So let's put our virtues in this side and our vices here. We have some tape. Please come here, bring your words, get a tape, and let's paste there. Very good. We have more virtues than vices. Virtues are winning. Virtues are winning. Well, now we have a lot of vices there too. Okay. So... Okay, so we have here a list of virtues: modesty, affability, forgiveness, pity, humility, benevolence, renunciation, and docility. Virtues that we would like to acquire when doing our self-enlightenment. Some of these virtues, as one of the groups was mentioning, we already have, but not to the extent that we would like to. And here some of the vices: pride, selfishness, vanity, envy, jealousy, anger, and revenge. Let's remember that we want to get rid of our vices. We want this scale of self-enlightenment not in a balance the way it is. What we would like to do? We would like to remove all these vices and have the side of the virtues weighting so much more. Isn't it? Isn't what we would like? So this scale is just to remind us that there are some of vices that we want to take out of the scale of our virtues and vices. And the more we get rid of our vices, the best we will be. And this is the goal of being here incarnated, is to evolve, is to progress. Now we will have one other activity. Again, one individual activity, that is this self-evaluation. So we have here a table with questions and the answers yes, no, and sometimes. And we will evaluate ourselves. Always remembering that the duty of the Spiritist Christian is to become better. From time to time, it's always good that we evaluate ourselves. And for this reason, we reinforce the importance of the Self-Enlightenment Agenda, this program that helps us so much in our self-enlightenment. Okay, what a wonderful opportunity again. This class is inviting you to a lot of self-evaluation. And take home this table, and once in a while you can look again and see if you are going at least one step forward. And this is our goal. Now I would like to invite everyone to enjoy a beautiful movie, The Ego, that will bring a message for our reflection.
This is a story of an eagle. An An eagle has the longest lifespan of its species. It can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, however, the eagle must make some tough decisions. In its 40th year, its long, flexible talons can no longer grab prey, which serve as food. Its long, sharp beak begins to bend. Its old, aged, and heavy wings, due to their thick feathers, stick to their chest and make it difficult to fly. Then the eagle is left with only two options: die or go through the painful process of change. The process requires that the eagle fly to a mountaintop and sit on its nest. There, it knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. Then the eagle will wait for a new beak to grow before it plucks out the talons. When the new talons grow back, the eagle starts plucking its thick, heavy feathers. And after this, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for another 30 years. Why is the change needed? To survive and live. We too have to start the change process. We also have to pluck our unpleasant memories, negative habits, and fixed mindset. Only freed from the past burdens can we take advantage of the present. Let's soar again.
A beautiful movie. Did you enjoy? Yeah, the message is very deep and touches our hearts. But I would like to invite a volunteer to see if someone would like to share your thoughts with us. Julio, please.
The ego is a good example about the process of improvement, but that it will be painful, and we need a lot of perseverance.
My dear students, let's now enjoy some of the high spirits, the spirits of light. They also brought a vast message about self-enlightenment. Let's enjoy some of them. We will start with a question. How to initiate the work of illumination of our soul? It's a good question. How to initiate? Now that we were trying to evaluate ourselves, trying to think about this scale, where we are there, which side is weighting more than the other. How can we initiate? And who is going to answer? It's Emmanuel. Emmanuel in the book, The Consoler. This effort must start with self-control, with discipline of selfish and inferior feelings, and with guiding ourselves by the testimony of sacrifice of other souls. This is a very interesting point that we didn't explore much yet in the class, but the example of other people, the example of victory of our brothers and sisters helps us a lot, because these examples, these experiences can inform our own struggles, can help us to situate ourselves where we are And the video that we just watched about the ego shows this, how much this bird needs to suffer to acquire evolvement, if we can put it like that. Just like for us, right? Now, Leon Denis, in the book, The Problem of the Being, Destiny, and Sorrow, what he teaches us regarding inner enlightenment. There is no possible progress without closely observing ourselves. It is necessary to watch all our impulsive actions to know to where we must direct our efforts to perfecting ourselves. And I would like to finish this highlighting these very important words here that I would like us to keep this in mind. The true happiness in this world is in the ratio of self-forgetting. Well, the true happiness, who would like to be happy? We are happy, but sometimes our life leads us to situations that will take our peace, that will test our patience, and so many other virtues that sometimes we don't have. And then the less virtues we have, the more the suffering. Okay. Emmanuel, again in the book The Consoler, the largest need of the human being is still of self-knowledge. This is our largest need, according to Emmanuel. Speaking of spiritual illumination, there is nothing beyond Jesus' examples in its gospel of truth and life. The example of Jesus is definitive and unique for the accomplishment of the light and the truth in each man. We were just talking in the first slide about the importance of having a guide, having some examples that will help us to choose our paths to go. And here we bring this man, Jesus, that was our greatest model according to the spirits. Remember that Allan Kardec in the Spirits book asks the spirits, who could be considered a guide, a model to mankind? And the answer is very short. Jesus. Follow Jesus. Jesus is the guide, is the example of our lives. Well, before I continue, you can stop me anytime. You can interrupt, make questions, make comments. And by the way, would someone like to make a comment? Magda?
I would like to say something. When we talk about examples that we can follow to be better person, the romances that we read, the books, they are really good. Like the one we are reading, the 2,000 years ago, it has a lot of examples of how to be good every day.
Now, after we talked about Jesus, and thank you, Magda, for your comment, let's talk about the universal rule of conduct. And we find this teaching in the Spirit's book with Allan Kardec. The moral teaching of the higher spirits may be summed up like that of Christ in the Gospel, saying, do to others as you would like them to do to you. This is so familiar to us, right? We all know this. Do to others as you would like them to do to you. That is to say, do good to all and wrong to no one. This principle of action furnishes mankind with a rule of conduct of universal application, from the smallest matters to the greatest. What a nice way to summarize this example. Universal, it doesn't matter if it's a small thing to a huge thing. Let's do to others what we want to ourselves. Moral transformation. Again, Allan Kardec, now in the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. The true followers of Spiritism can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts they employ in order to dominate their bad instincts. That's how we will be recognized, by the efforts that we are putting to dominate our vices, to try to get rid of them. This is so beautiful because Allan Kardec is not telling that the true follower of Spiritism will be the one that has only virtues and no vices. Because we are not pure spirits, yes. We are walking. We are trying. But what he says is, we will be recognized by the efforts that we put, by how much we try to get rid of these vices. While ones are content with a limited horizon, others who understand that better things exist make every effort to liberate themselves, and always manage to do this when their desire is strong and true. Allan Kardec in the Spirit's book, Selfishness is the true source of all vices, as charity is the source of all virtues. To destroy selfishness and develop charity should be the aim of all who desire to ensure their own happiness in the present life, as well as in the future. Again, Allan Kardec is talking about something that we all want, because we all want our happiness here in this life and in the future as well. Any questions? Vices and virtues. Again, we have here the scale, the one that we were talking about, and the vices, pride, vanity, anger, vengeance, selfishness, envy, and jealousy. And we also have affability and mildness in the good side of the story, right? Beneficence, forgiveness, renunciation, compassion, patience and docility, indulgence, modesty and humility, obedience and resignation. Wow, what a beautiful list of virtues. One day, this is another good point that we learn in Spiritism, and that we always need to remember, is that one day we will acquire all these virtues. We will, because we were created simple and ignorant, but we were created to perfection. The virtues. Which is the most meritorious of all the virtues? All virtues are meritorious, for all of them are signs of progress, the progress that we were talking a few minutes ago, on the upward road. There is virtue in every act of voluntary resistance to the seductive influence of evil tendencies. But the sublimity of virtue consists in the sacrifice of self-interest. To the good of others, the highest of all virtues is that which takes the form of the widest and most disinterested kindness. Again, Allan Kardec, The Gospel According to Spiritism, the Beneficence. The act of benevolence in this world, my friends, gives you the happiness of the heart, being the purest and sweetest delight that neither remorse nor indifference can perturb. Summarizing, being good is always the best choice. Being good to others, doing good to others will be always the right way to go. The forgiveness, so important to forgive, and so hard in our stage of evolvement. Allan Kardec in the Gospel according to Spiritism, to forgive the enemies is to ask forgiveness for oneself. To forgive your friends is to give proof of friendship, and to forgive offenses in general is to show yourself better than you are. That's what we want. We don't want to be better than anyone else. We want to be better of ourselves. And forgiveness is one of these virtues that we need to work on. If we don't have it naturally yet, let's focus on this. This is one of the virtues highlighted by Allan Kardec. Patience and docility. Again, Allan Kardec in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Be patient, because this is also charity. Everyone should practice the law of charity as taught by Christ, who is God's messenger. Let's always remember the message of Jesus Christ, inviting us to patience and docility. To forgive all those placed in your pathway by God, to act as instruments for your suffering and to test your patience. Okay, so many virtues for us to work. And that's why we have this program of self-enlightenment with our agenda. And we have in the literature, we have so many beautiful examples of people that did that. For example, we have St. Augustine suggesting the evaluation of ourselves at night. We have these in the Spirit's book. We also have Benjamin Franklin that developed, so young, he developed a method of self-enlightenment and that he carried through his whole life. And we also have a program of support to self-enlightenment. That is actually a proposal to stimulate those that are willing to change themselves, that would like some guidance day after day to reform himself or herself. So our program uses an everyday self-enlightenment. With our agenda, what we do, we evaluate ourselves every day. And this makes our work seems not too heavy. Because if we think that we need to be better, we need to improve ourselves, and we think about all these virtues that we want and all these vices, it's a lot. But if we work day after day, evaluating ourselves every day, it makes it easier for us to go step by step. This self-enlightenment in the Spiritist Center is what we've been doing here. The program of 30 minutes that we do before every class here in the Spiritist Center. The Self-Enlightenment Agenda, and we have here some examples because every year Alta de Souza publisher publishes a new version of the agenda. We have here some of them, and this agenda was created with the objective of cooperate with the process of self-knowledge and inner enlightenment according to the precepts of our Lord Jesus Christ. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. We have this from Matthew. This is a daily agenda focused especially to the process of self-enlightenment. Exercises, reflections, and goals of self-enlightenment are part of this booklet. It's an amazing program because we have some messages, we have some tables, we have different ways to evaluate ourselves in a creative manner that won't make us tired of the agenda. And we also would like to remind everyone about the general schedule that we all do here. And I know that this is very familiar to you. Just to remind everyone that we have these 3 moments. We have the first moment that is, all the 3 moments are of 10 minutes of duration. First moment is the free conversation that we do here, conversation in pairs, friendly dialogue about what the students are willing to share that day, always considering the noble ideals of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is the first moment. That's what we do. Every day when we arrive here, we talk. This is the free conversation moment. The second moment, the support study that we chose for our study here, the book 2,000 years ago. What we will do, we will always, for this moment of the program, choose one of the books of Emmanuel or other spirits that are considered spirits that we can bring to our studies with deep knowledge, deep teachings for us. So this support study, it's a monitored reading of the book of the semester. Why we say it's monitored? Because you will read home, but here when we join, when we get together, we will make some comments. We will highlight some of these, the important subjects of that, the specific subject, the specific chapter studied in that week, and the students will be invited to participate. And the third moment, the reflection, that's when we get our agenda. It's an individual moment. That's when we exercise our self-evaluation. And we can even grade ourselves if we want. We have a space for the evaluation of the week. We will look back the pages of that specific week and evaluate ourselves. And to finish, as always, we like to bring some titles, some books with this question. Do you know these books? One of them by the Spirit Emmanuel, Psychography of Chico Xavier, Root. We have also from Chico Xavier by the Spirit Neo Lúcio, we have Message from a Teen in the Spirit World, The Big Journey. It's a fantastic book. And we also have Spiritist Post of Assistance. That is a book, a manual by Alta de Souza Publisher that will show these amazing works of charity that can be developed close to communities, and also attending what we are being invited by the spirits, as we learned in the class of today. We are being invited to charity, to help others, forgetting about ourselves. Again, we came to the end of one more class. What a joy, what a wonderful subject. And next week, I can't wait. Subject of next week is family. Family, what an important subject as well, as all the subjects of this course. So please, let's always put an effort. We were talking about putting effort in the important things of life. Putting an effort in our study home is also a way of self-improvement. Also, let's put an effort in our agenda. Let's remember that we we have this program that we've been doing since we started, but today we were able to talk a little bit more, to explain to you a little bit in more details of the importance of this program to our lives. And for now, for our ending, as always, we finish with a prayer. Any volunteer? Julio, thank you.
Now let's close our eyes. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Master and Friend, we evoke our mentors, evoke the high spirits that take care of our lives, our families. Say how thankful we are for the opportunity of one more class with Jesus Christ. And I ask to please, dear Lord, dear Creator, to help us to absorb all these teachings, that they stay in our hearts, in our minds, that we can spread this light to everyone that comes to our life. Please help us during this week, and we can find you in every time, in every place. God bless us all. So be it.
Thank you, Julio, and thank you everyone for coming. And let's not forget our hugs. Everyone needs to hug at least 3 of the friends. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the class.